Welcome to the Brett Davis Podcast. We're finally on. I apologize for anybody that was here at 6 o'clock that took off, and we just had a little technical difficulty, and it had nothing to do with the fact that we have somebody that hypnotizes somebody, and so happens to be in the would I say hemp or marijuana industry?
Yes. you can say them both.
This is Don Spencer. That's not why we're late, by the way, so I'm not giving him credit for that. We'll take that. And of course, I have a couple guests with me right now. One's sitting off to the left over here, or right, depending on what part of the camera you're looking at on the screen. Makenna Davis, who also has her own magazine and podcast show. She'll be talking about that a little bit. And somebody that's friends with me on our channels on Facebook, and I guess a couple other things I'm not sure. Arianna Gonzalez, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for rushing all the way from your job. You text me, I think it was it last night when I put I'm looking for two people that want to be hypnotized. I wonder if I would have got more response if I would have said, I want to be hypnotized and get stoned. I probably would have got more, right? Probably would have gotten
a faster response from
maybe
me.
Get stoned and get hypnotized.
Yeah. But you know, who knows if you're really hypnotized, you could just be stoned.
Well, you could be hypnotized to feel like you're stoned.
See, this is going to be a very interesting show. So Don Spencer was on my radio show at Salem Media a week ago, and had a couple guests there that I wasn't sure really if he was going to be able to get them hypnotized. But I had heard some of your bio and some of your history, and I thought, well, if anybody can do it, you probably can. You just seem legit to me. You know, you remind me of a lot of the guys I used to party with. I used to have hair longer than yours before in the day.
Actually, I'm growing it back out. It was short for a long time, but it's since COVID, the pandemic, and 3 years of not a lot of work, I couldn't afford a haircut. So here I am.
I could afford one.
You could afford one.
So Don, let's talk about, first of all,
Sure.
how does one become a hypnotist?
Ooh, boy. I'll tell you what, the first time that I ever did hypnosis, I was 12 years old. And I had a girl who was a friend, and her father happened to be in the Navy. And one day she said to me, "Can I show you what my dad does?" I go, "Okay." And so she taught me this hypnotic induction with her, and I hypnotized her. And then she goes, "Have me count backwards from 100. And when I can't talk anymore, then just ask me to do anything and I'll do it."
Wow.
Yeah, I was only 12, remember. But
well, what was that? That was probably the 80s, late 70s.
Somewhere in there. Yeah, I have to think about that one.
Well, we're not going to get into what happened.
Nothing
12,
happened, but it was just really trippy because, I'd have her stand up, sit down, throw up her arms, dance, cry, laugh.
So you did this, or the father did this?
I did it. She goes, "Do this what my dad does." So I crossed my legs and she put her head in my lap, and I would just rub her temples and have her count backwards. And pretty soon she couldn't talk anymore. And then I would give her suggestions. And to me at that time, it kind of felt like playing Simon Says. So that's kind of what I could equate it to back then at 12.
So when you did this, did you have any idea what was going to happen? Were you totally surprised?
No, I had no idea. I didn't even know. I didn't know what hypnosis was. I didn't know anything.
Really?
It just seemed like, okay, let's play and have some fun. Yeah.
Sure.
So formally, go into the future, when I was going to college with psychology, I was in my third year, and it was in an abnormal psych class, and there was one paragraph about hypnosis. And I read that, and I had forgotten about that experience when I was 12. But when I read that, it hit me, and I thought, oh my God, I need to know more than just a paragraph. So I began to search out schools of hypnosis, and I found a place up in Long Beach. I was living in Escondido at the time. And I went to Long Beach to this lecture, and there's about 200 people in there. And this individual was talking about the mind and how the mind works. And then he was doing demonstrations of hypnosis. And it's just like, oh my God, that makes perfect sense. So for me, it kind of filled in the blank between the conscious and the unconscious, and why people do what they do, and how to create change in an individual almost instantaneously.
Well, I would think also being hypnotized, probably people find out things about themselves they're not even aware of.
Well, that's really what the purpose is, as doing hypnotherapy. My work is to help to uncover unconscious, habits and behaviors that a person has that no longer serve a useful purpose. And all we do is we just scramble those up, or we eliminate them, delete them, or just rewrite the script over the old one. So they have a new program to operate on. Yeah.
So everybody always talks about the first time. Let's talk about the second time. What happened the second time? Do you remember the second time that happened? Was it different? And who, give us the circumstances when somebody was hypnotized. You probably don't remember, right?
No, I do remember.
Nobody's ever asked you about the second one, have they?
No, they haven't. So you always remember the first one, never the second one.
Nobody ever asked about the second one.
Nobody does. So this is interesting. I'd have to say the second time was when after I went to that lecture, I immediately enrolled in a training, and I took a weekend course and began, with, I think there's maybe 50 other people studying hypnosis with this group. And we learned how to do inductions with one another. So that was my step into hypnotherapy, or actually hypnosis. So it was a weekend course. You became a certified hypnotherapist, and I immediately put up a shingle, opened up a shop, and started doing hypnotherapy. And I found out very quickly that I needed a lot more information. I needed to study more. So I took another class for 3 weeks. I took another training for 1.5 years. And we did that one, 6 days a week for 1.5 years.
Wow.
And then
6 days a week for 1.5 years?
Yeah.
That's a commitment.
That was a commitment, but I really wanted to learn this thing called hypnosis and hypnotherapy. And so it was fascinating. And then I began to just travel around the country to every convention, every seminar, and studying with everybody who was anybody at the time. This was back in the 1980s, early 80s sometime.
So there's a lot of people that probably don't believe that it works. Do you think there's more people now that don't believe or do believe than there was when you first started doing this? Does that make sense?
Well,
were there more believers then than there are now, or is it about the same, or is it just different?
Well, okay. Let me put it this way. I think more people understand it more now, and especially in light of the last 3 years. Don't want to get political, but what we have seen is that how individuals have used certain techniques in order to create a mindset for people to become compliant to follow certain directives without any critical thought.
Well, we typically don't talk religion or politics, but let's talk about television and programming with radio and sound. So are you saying that it's very possible for people to be programmed or hypnotized through what they're watching on TV or what they're listening to on the internet?
Oh, easily.
Really?
Yeah, it's just through repetition. So through repetition, that's how we learn. So think of it this way. Up until about the age of 8 years old, the only mind that you really have is a subconscious mind, meaning that all information that's presented to you up until about the age of 8, you accept as being the literal truth, right, wrong, or indifferent. So if you're raised a Jew or Muslim or a Christian or whatever you are, that really becomes your belief systems that you hold on to.
So most people are not going to change what they've been taught, is what you're saying.
No, they're not going to change what they've been taught, but they will face challenges in their life where somebody's going to come up and say, well, why are you a Republican or a Democrat, or why are you a Christian or a Muslim or whatever? And then the conversation begins. And so sometimes we go, well, why am I? So when you have that thought, well, why do I believe what I believe? Then you can begin to look back at how you were trained.
So would you say what percentage of people stick with what they've been taught in their childhood?
I would say, oh boy, that's a good one.
90%?
I'd say probably a good, 80, 90%. Yeah. And a person may, vacillate and move away from that for a while, which everybody does in their teenage years, up in teens and the early 20s, we all go off and do something different. But if you're raised in a certain way up until about the age of 8, around there, eventually you're going to come back and you're going to begin to adhere and look back towards those values in which you were raised. And so it's kind of a double-edged sword, because an individual, say, who's brought up in an environment of love and happiness and peace, you're going to seek love and happiness and peace in your life and in relationships and with people. If you're raised in an environment where there's conflict and bad things happen, then you're going to begin to go out into the world. You're going to have a different image of how you perceive reality, and you're going to draw to yourselves those experiences that will validate how bad you believe you are based on what happened.
So why do you think, I guess programming is part of the reason, like you said, people are that way. So Arianna, what made you fascinated with coming today? What was it that Dawn being hypnotized made you curious about coming tonight?
I've always been curious about hypnosis. It was always something that I was interested in and wanted to explore further. So, when I saw that you mentioned hypnosis, I was definitely open to, anything that you guys wanted to do. I didn't think it could be used in a negative way. I didn't think you would use it in a negative way. So I just came here with all my trust and, whichever direction you guys want to take, I'm open.
You're opening yourself up.
Here, something I want to interject when you say use as a negative way.
Well, she said she trusted. So why we've never met. First of all, I think I asked you, have we ever met? You said, no, we haven't, but we know I have a lot of the same. Did you know anybody that you
I really like your Facebook posts.
My Facebook posts get me in trouble. I'm surprised I've never been in Facebook jail. And I've really walked the tightrope. My wife's like, you're going to get I've gotten away with some stuff, and I think they do it because they want to see who's watching so they can put them in jail.
Oh, I've been in jail a few times. I'm surprised I'm not in jail permanently, to be honest with you.
You look like you could be in jail.
By the grace of God, I have been saved.
So, what out of curiosity, what post have you seen that you thought was interesting that I posted? Is something come in mind? You don't have to remember verbatim the words, but was there something, one or two, that you said, I like his post?
I thought we weren't supposed to talk politics.
Oh, okay. Some of those. Okay. It's been a while since I've done those, by the way. I thought I'd let people find out for themselves with all the high gas prices and everything. Never mind. But anyway,
places I could go.
Anyway, I'm not here to do that. I love everybody, but
right.
So, who could benefit from being hypnotized?
Anybody.
Okay. Let's talk about the high depression rate that's going on in the country since we've had a pandemic. Could being hypnotized with people that have depression or anxiety, could you work with people like that? With a professional, maybe?
Of course I can. I'll tell you a quick story because it kind of irks me. I'm not going to be political, but it was interesting.
You keep saying that and you keep being political.
Okay, I'm being a little political. not too much, but here it goes. So I'm at a farmer's market, and because I've got a CBD, THC business, and we're
going to talk about that.
And this woman comes up to me. She had her daughter, and she goes, "What do you have for stress?" I go, and I looked at her. I go, "You don't look like you're stressed out." She goes, "It's not for me, it's for her." And she pointed to her daughter, and I looked at her daughter. I go, "How old are you?" She goes, "Well, I'm 16." I go, 16, what do you have to be stressed about? She goes, "Well, since this all happened, I don't have any social life. I can't see my friends. I'm depressed." I mean, it happened to a lot of people. It was crazy. It was an epidemic.
But we never talk about that. We talk about all the, God, all the poor people that
I lost some very, very close people who died.
Me too.
That, yeah.
So, it was a real deal.
Yeah.
But my thing is, what we don't talk about is the suicide rate going up the way that it did. That's something that's never talked about. And we don't talk about the people that were had so much anxiety and depression.
Yeah. Well, anxiety and depression, it's a real thing, and so you can help them. And it was really a big challenge because how do you really help somebody overcome their stress and anxiety based on something that nobody has any control over? So typically when somebody comes with stress or anxiety, it's because, something has happened in their life that we can reframe. But how do you reframe a pandemic? And that's kind of what that was over the last 3 years in what we're talking about now, in this instance. So that was kind of a challenge. And so, for example, with CBD, I could offer CBD. I say, use this. This won't change what's going on, but it will help change the way your body experiences the feeling, so you're at least more calm and relaxed. And then, of course, what I'd always do, I'd always give people some tools for relaxing instantly. So I can teach a person how to do self-hypnosis in just a couple of minutes. And they can utilize that. So whenever they're feeling stressed or anxious, they can just take a few deep breaths, say in their mind the word sleep now, and they can completely relax and let go.
Well, I think also the things that we were talking about that happened during the pandemic, I think we also saw, I can tell you when we started our podcast, we started right in March when the pandemic started.
2020.
Yeah, 2020 in March. And I looked out the windows here and I saw nobody on the streets. And I'm like, we're done. This is like the worst. But you know what happened? Our ratings, because people were home, went up 1,500%.
Wow.
And then I thought, because people are not doing anything, they're bored. They're going through different things online. And so we were at the right place at the right time. So it was a true blessing. So we talked a little bit about who you could help. Have you worked with people that are very depressed or have anxiety before?
Oh yeah. Well, when I first began my career doing hypnotherapy, I just kind of said, okay, God, what do you got out there? Show me how, show me the worst of the worst. And so about the first 5 years, I had nothing more. The majority, I'd say 95%, was working with MPD, which is now DID, dissociative identity disorder, then called multiple personality disorder. So I worked specifically with that and adult victims of early childhood sexual abuse. And so those are what I worked with for the first, 5 or 6 years. That's what I cut my teeth on doing hypnotherapy. So you've got depression, anxiety, you got stress, you've got dissociative personalities, you've got whole family systems that are, batshit, if I can say that, crazy.
Have you ever had couples come to you to help work out their anxieties or problems in their relationship?
Yeah. And I really like doing that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a lot of fun because, people don't get together because they don't like each other. And they get together because they love each other. And somewhere along the line, just, a glitch happened. And so what I always try to do with everybody is try to find a healing opportunity. So for example, what brought you together? What can we do to reignite that love that brought you together? Because, you can go, you can end a relationship and go anywhere, but the grass isn't always greener on the other side, which is what a lot of people think.
You know why it's greener, right? There's more manure.
More manure?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one.
That's true. It's true.
That's
So we're gonna let you do your thing right now. Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody come on to say have any questions at all for Dawn at all? Anything on there at all? People are waving. People are afraid, aren't they? So I'm going to have. Do I need to get out of the way and let Makenna come over here as well? Because I'd like to have Makenna also. He does usually two of them at the same time.
What do you want me? You want me to hypnotize both of you?
Yeah, at the same time.
Okay. Have you ever done hypnosis? Oh, you're gonna have so much fun.
So we have somebody just walked into the office. This is Makenna Davis, my daughter. Can you hypnotize her to keep her room more organized? It's actually pretty good, but I mean, maybe become more domesticated, and so she always likes to go to parties and have a good time, which we did. We had a good time when we went to parties.
Yeah. How old are you? 18? Oh yeah.
Remember 18? I don't remember it at all.
No, to be honest with you, there's a lot. I got a complete blank for about 10 years.
So why don't I get out of the way or let him, or can you have one on both? How do you do it? Do you want them both together or do you want to pull out of here? I'm gonna get out of the way. You come over here or right here. You situated. I'm going to move.
Okay. So we'll kind of pretend like we're doing hypnosis. It's kind of like a show. So kind of, come on over here. Mackenzie? Makenna. I was that close. Okay. Makenna and Arianna. So, okay, this is kind of cool. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do something that I normally don't do. So I'm going to take these off. Something I normally do. I don't wear them. You can take those off if you like. Yeah, we don't need those. So this is kind of fun. Last time I had two beautiful gals, man, was over. Where was I? Was it Ireland?
Ireland.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh, Ireland. That's green. Ireland is green. So, okay. Here's what we're going to do. Ready? Look right here. Sleep. Close your eyes. Way down. Loosely, limply, relax. Good. You can just sleep right there. Just like that. Loosely, limply, relax. Good. I'm going to take your arm. I want you to make your arm stiff and rigid. Make a tight fist. Make a tight fist for me. Make it nice and tight. Make that arm stiff and rigid and powerful. Make that arm as stiff and rigid and powerful as you can. So stiff and so rigid, so powerful, you cannot bend it. Try to bend the arm. It will not bend. Try as hard as you can. The arm is stuck up in the air. It will not bend. Try as hard. Grab it with your other arm and try to pull it down. Grab it with your other arm. Try to pull that arm down. It won't come down. It won't come down at all. But I tap you on the forehead. Drop your arm down and sleep. Very good. So that's what we're going to do with her really quickly. You can just sit there. So when I count to 3, open your eyes, sit up in your chair. 1, 2, and 3. That was very quick. How you doing? Good for you. Woohoo. So, okay. We're going to do this a little bit differently with you. Okay.
Okay.
Did you see how quick that was?
Yeah.
So you want to do it fast or slow?
I don't care anyway. I'm like, what? This is crazy. I'm like,
You know, I'll tell you a quick story. A few years ago, my son, who's 19, I have a 19-year-old son, right? And he was helping me do a show, and he was like running my soundboard. It was for this police department up in Salt Lake City, and he's running the sound, and everybody starts laughing, and they're going, pointing over to him, and I'm going, what's going on? And he's hypnotized. He's over there. Every suggestion I'm giving to everybody, he's doing it. I'm going, oh my gosh. Anyway, look right here. Take a deep breath in. How easy is that? Good. Taking a deep breath in. Yeah. See it? That's what I see. Taking a deep breath in. Just close your eyes down the whole way. Close them down. Just loosely, lightly relax, just like that. Good. Just like that. That's good. Put your head right there so you don't fall over. Good. Just like that. Good. Now listen very carefully. Each and every time your eyes open and close, you will go deeper and deeper in hypnosis. Each time your eyes open and close, you relax deeper, you relax faster, and you feel better and better. Each time that your eyes open and close, you just relax a little bit deeper, a little bit further. I count 3, open your eyes. 1, 2, and 3. Good. Look right here and just sleep. That's good. Very good. Each time your eyes open and close, you relax a little bit deeper. This is so much fun. Open your eyes wide awake and just sleep. Good. All the way down. Now, good. Now, here's what we're going to do with you. We're going to have a little bit of interesting thing here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop your hand down into your lap. When I do, let's just drift back in time for a moment to an earlier time, before 10 years old, to a very happy memory only, something that you can remember that is just a lot of fun. And just be there right now. Where you're at, is it daytime or nighttime?
daytime.
Daytime. Are you inside or outside?
Outside.
Are you alone or somebody with you?
Playing with my friends.
Playing with your friends. And how old do you seem to be?
Like 8.
Like 8. Oh my gosh. What are you playing?
We're just running around.
Oh, how fun is that? Are you having a good time?
Mm-hmm.
Where's your parents at?
In the house.
Yeah. Oh, good. Are you doing anything you shouldn't be doing?
Mm-mm.
Oh, good. Well, you don't want to get in trouble, do you?
Mm-mm.
Good. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to count 3. I'm not going to count 3. I'm just going to say, count 3. Open your eyes. Come all the way back. 1, 2, and 3. Come all the way back. Good. How was that?
Good.
Pretty simple, right? Did you know it was going to be that easy?
No.
Okay. So is there anything else that you would like to see as far as hypnosis?
Do something else.
Do something else? What would you like me to do?
I don't know. You do. What do you think? You have an idea?
Pardon me?
Any idea you would want to do? Something you'd like to do, or Makenna?
I don't know.
See, here's the thing. A lot of individuals, what you're seeing here is, for example, starting in April 22nd, we're going to be doing a show at the Coronado Shores. So a lot of what I do here in that regard is kind of like what we do as far as entertainment, especially here. What we did here was kind of an example of doing a regression very quickly. So in doing a regression is a lot of fun, because doing regressions with anybody, you can go back and you can, find experiences that no longer serve a useful purpose. And that's where you can begin to reframe them, as you know, because you've been through hypnotherapy, is what you said, right? Yeah. So maybe not the same way as what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. So maybe what you do is they say, just sit there, just close your eyes, and just sleep way down, all the way down. Close your eyes, loosely, gently relax, just like that. Way down. Loosely, gently relax, just like that. Very, very good. Now, here's the neat thing is that when you learn how to do hypnosis and relax like this, you can use this state to change anything in your own life personally. For example, you can use this as a form of self-hypnosis, and you can go inside and you can challenge beliefs that no longer serve a purpose. You can go in there and you can rewrite or write your future that you want for yourself. And I think I mentioned this when we had that interview the other day on the radio show, when we were talking about the mind and energy. It's like whenever you have a thought is an energy. So the thought goes out in front of you when you think it, and it's an energy, and it becomes solid matter. And then we end up calling it reality. Therefore, reality is nothing more than a reflection of what we think at all times. So if you do this right now, I want you to think of one thing that you want to change, or one thing that you want for yourself in the future. Think of one thing that you want more than anything, some kind of a goal that you want. And as you think about that, then just nod your head for me, if you would, please. Very cool. Okay, good. What I want you to do is I want you to take that right now, and I want you to breathe into it. Make it as real as you can. Make it big and vibrant, and as bright as you can. I want you to, hallucinate all the possibilities, the sights, the sounds, the smells, the feelings that you have from the top of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes. I want you to allow that feeling to become very big. Just really breathe deeply into that image and make it as real as you can. And I want you to send that out into the future right now and see yourself as already participating in that new goal, that new behavior that you desire. As you find yourself there, then nod your head once again, if you would, please. Awesome. Very good. Good. Now I want you to hold on to that. I want you to hold on to that very, very tightly. And I want you to breathe into it one more time. And I want you to bring it all the way back inside of yourself, bring it all the way into your heart, into your stomach, into your brain, in every cell of your body, because every cell in your body has intelligence. So all the intelligence of every cell in your body is now beginning to take all these ideas and make them your very own. I'm going to count to 3. On number 3, come all the way back. Feeling fantastic in every way. 1, 2, and 3. Take a long, deep breath. Open your eyes and stretch. Good. How was that? That was quick hypnotherapy there, wasn't it? Yeah. Brefa, how was that?
That's good.
So let me ask you, what was that like to go into the future and see a goal that you were wanting for yourself?
It felt amazing.
Yeah, pretty cool, right? Could you see it very brightly? And
I could, and it was more of a feeling, I think, more than
Okay,
anything.
yeah.
I usually feel things.
Okay.
So it was more of like a feeling of fulfillment.
yeah, well, that's interesting because when you think about, well, let me ask her first. And what was your experience like?
It was the same thing. The feeling I felt like inside of me, kind of like what you were saying. I felt it.
Okay, good. So that's an interesting thing. They felt it. So when you want to change the behavior, think of it this way. It's really a feeling that we have because the subconscious mind is a feeling mind as opposed to the conscious mind, which is more rational. So when you feel something, you're able to really internalize it much better, right? So, and that also goes to the other next point is that individuals learn in different ways. We learn by what we see, what we hear, what we feel, and then by what we intuit. So when we begin to understand modalities in which human beings participate in, we can use those modalities in order to communicate more effectively and help you to achieve your goals more rapidly. Yeah.
That's super cool.
Let me jump back in.
Yeah, come on.
Okay, so we're back. I was watching, of course, from the side there. Now, did you feel in control, or was it more of a visual experience for you? Or how did that whole thing, how did you feel?
Just very relaxed. I was focusing on his voice and just listening to whatever he was saying.
Do you feel that he was able to draw something or connect you to something that maybe you wouldn't be able to do by yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I practice a lot, basically like self-hypnosis and things like that. So I'm somewhat familiar with the feeling and creating the feeling to get what you want. So I think it was pretty easy to go along with whatever he was saying and just follow that.
So the other question is, you had talked about when you were 12,
Right.
and it seemed very natural for you too. You never had any experience with it.
Nope. No, it's what I do is always just felt natural. It's kind of a part of myself, and it's, I think I've done it for so long. It's kind of hard to separate me, who I am, from what I do, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah, because when I meet people, I always look at people like, who are you?
Mhm.
So I always look a little bit deeper into their,
Sure.
into their essence, into their energy, and I can, pretty much read an individual very rapidly.
So there's people that sleepwalk.
Yeah, called somnambulists.
What's the difference between that type of trance or state compared to being hypnotized?
Not much, to be honest with you, because a somnambulist is really, an individual who goes into the alpha state, unconsciously. So a lot of people do sleepwalking, sleep talking, sleep eating, which is a lot of people do. So it's that same thing. When I hypnotize an individual and we go into the subconscious mind, it's the same state of consciousness that you have when you are sleepwalking. So I just teach a person with hypnosis how to do it consciously and not unconsciously, like the person who does sleepwalking. And I've worked with a lot of individuals in sleep centers, who have, sleeping, problems.
Yeah, and we have more of that than ever. So you also, if you have some events coming up you talked about, but we'll be hearing more about that and more about what you do. We're going to be placing information on this interview so people can. We have a website also, didn't we?
Yeah. Yeah. The website sleepnow.com.
Okay.
But yeah, the event that we have, which I'm really excited about, it's going to be here in Coronado at the Coronado Shores. And that's going to be on Saturday.
We're out of California because we have people from all over the world that watch this show.
Coronado, California.
There you go.
Beautiful, sunny Coronado. I was out there today meeting with Larry, and oh my gosh, it was just stunning. The sky was blue. The water was just,
It's a nice city. It's one of my favorite cities in the world. And
can I tell you something real quick?
Absolutely.
This is kind of interesting because when I first moved down to Southern California after living in Montana for 10 years, I thought about, well, maybe I'll put together a show again. And I thought about different places that I wanted to go. And the one thing that kept coming to my mind was Coronado. And that has always been in there. And I've had opportunities to go to other places, but I just never felt I wanted to go anywhere else.
So is it the energy that's here? There is a vibe here. There's an energy. I like being surrounded by the water. There's something about water. I don't know what it is, but I feel like it kind of puts you, even just going across that bridge, it puts you in almost like like you're going on vacation.
It's a cool place. The people that I've met, are really cool. It's laid back. People who are here because they want to have fun. They just want to enjoy being outdoors. They seem really nice to one another. I really like that. People are decent.
So I wonder again if the environment, I mean, we do have a lot of really wonderful people here. The environment that we live in has a lot to do with that. I know when I'm in Hawaii, the same thing happens. When I'm in Hawaii, I feel like everything is its best. The way that I see the day, the way that I greet people, the food that I eat,
right?
Everything just different when you're in that type of state.
Yeah. Well, I've lived in some northern states and it's different. I'm not going to get into that, but yeah, but when you have sunshine, you are happier.
Sure.
When you have when I lived in Montana, I lived in Kalispell, and we had 161 days of sunshine a year. Talk about people who are depressed. I couldn't wait to get out of there.
Well, the ideal place is to live where there's sunshine X amount of days, and then live in other areas.
Yeah.
So you do parties, you do events. What else do you work with corporations?
I work with corporations. What I've been doing over the last few years, besides the pandemic, is traveling around internationally and doing, larger stages, for corporate world. They would hire me and they would fly me out. I would go out there and do a presentation. We just have a great time. So before I did that, I had a theater up in Salt Lake City where I did a show every Saturday night for 320 weeks, every Saturday night.
Wow.
So in that show, we hypnotized over 100,000 people.
Wow.
And then I started doing a lot of corporate gigs, and that was in the early days of the internet. And then my first gig out of the United States was actually over in Manila in the Philippines for MTV.
Well, this is you always, whenever we talk, I'm always you always surprise me. When you were in Salt Lake, did you happen to go to Crown Burger?
Crown Burger, that's on State Street.
Yeah.
That was like just a few blocks from where my theater was.
Some people say it's one of the best hamburgers in the country.
It is. It's great because where I had my show, it was on, 3300 South State Street, and Crown Burger was, I think, just right across the street, not too far away.
They do a good business.
Yeah.
So tell us, we have so much we wanted to talk to him about. It doesn't seem like there's been enough time. End his story, and then we're going to put his information on. He also has a dispensary company. We'll talk about that a little bit, but
sure.
Finish the hypnotizing story of we're going to Dubai.
Oh, going to Dubai?
See if you can wrap that up in like 3 minutes.
Well, how I got to Dubai, I was doing a workshop in Las Vegas. It was a 4-day workshop, and we had 180 people in the class. I was teaching people how to be an entertainer. So we had 180 people in the class. It was phenomenal. And one of the guys happened to be from Dubai, and he came up to me afterwards. He goes, "Would you be interested in coming to Dubai?" I said, "Say no more. All I need is a ticket." And so we went back to Dubai. We stayed in contact. And a few months later, I was on a plane, in a first class going to Dubai. And I spent, I originally was going to go there for 2 weeks. We ended up staying for a month because, as we did, we're doing shows, at the theater. I can't think the name of the theater right now, but it's the only theater in Dubai, the most beautiful ornate theater in the entire world. Oh my gosh, it was phenomenal. But because I was there, I was doing interviews like for in the Middle East, we had like 3 million people, listening into our interviews and everything. And in the newspapers, we're talking about hypnosis because in that country, in the Arab country, what I do could be considered sorcery.
Wow. I never thought about that.
Yeah. So because it's hypnosis.
I'll tell you, I love the Arab culture, and I have a lot of friends that are, and I think it's just a beautiful.
I've got a lot of friends that are Arabs, and I had a great time. But yeah,
phenomenal friends, very loyal.
Yeah.
Very, very loyal.
I would go back in a
So
heartbeat.
tell us a story about the royal family.
So
You got to hear this.
So anyway, I'm doing a show. Actually, it wasn't a show that was planned. The Cavalli Club, very, very chic club. They called my road manager and they wanted to hire me to come over there for quite a pretty penny. And it's like, okay, we'll go. You want me to go in there and just do something? Okay. So we went over there and I'm doing this presentation, and all of a sudden it becomes quiet. I'm going, what's going on? I look at my road manager and he points over to this group of people walking in. It happened to be the sheikh. I said sheikh the other day. The ruler of Dubai. How's that?
The king?
The king, the guy who makes everything happen over there.
Wow.
He had his entourage with him. And so they came walking by and they went up to the little room, and I went on with my presentation. And about 30 minutes later, this guy comes down. He shakes my hand. He goes, "This is from the king." Shake.
So the king wasn't shaking your hands. He said somebody to shake.
Well, he came down, but this guy came, shook my hand. He goes, "This is for you." And I go,
nice to meet you, brother.
Yeah, nice to meet you, brother. This is a gift from the king. And it was like a wad of cash.
Wow.
I'm going, that's cool. And then
you should have brought me. I would have been your bodyguard.
I needed one. I tell you what. Then a little bit later, he comes down.
The king.
Yeah, he comes down and he goes, "I just want you to know I love what you do." And he kisses me on the forehead.
Wow.
And he takes a watch off his arm, a Rolex, and gives it to me as a gift.
Did he have a lot of Rolexes on his arm, or just one, or what?
Well, I think he just had one, because after that came off, there's nothing left.
Okay. I can see like taking a watch off, and then another one, it's like revolving. Another Rolex pops in there.
He could be, those guys got a lot of money. Then he invited me up to his private suite, after my presentation, because he wanted me to hypnotize all the people that were with him.
Wow.
And
that's a good way to find out who's loyal to you.
Well,
right? You're somebody in the background. I didn't. Okay.
I want that you hypnotize all these people. I love what you do. You hypnotize them. You tell them what to do, and you show me what to do, and I will do whatever I want. You're a good man. I love you. And he kissed me again.
So this is, and like I said on the radio show, I think we can go in a lot of different areas. I'd love to have you come back. I hope you love what we do.
It's great. It's awesome. Yeah.
It's a little bit different than our corporate studio. A little bit different.
I like it.
We actually have a record player over there, and we have LPs here. We actually have vinyl, if you can believe it.
Vinyl.
Yeah, vinyl. I got Zeppelin. I've got the Beatles. I've got the original stuff.
It's
all in a safe, by the way. If anybody's listening, you can't get in here, so don't even think about it.
I'll come back earlier.
Well, and of course,
put on a little bit of Zeppelin.
And he's having his honey, but give us a website for your dispensary site as well, because that's something we can talk about next time.
Sure. That's Hemp iOS, HEMP iOS. iOS stands for Internal Operating System.
And we have his information all on the site right now, everything going across, right? Thank you, Sarah. Sarah's awesome. Well, Don Spencer, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure. I hope we can do some more work together.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Another interview.
Yeah.
Arianna Gonzalez, thank you for trucking all the way over from the East area.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you had a good time.
I did.
Probably went by too quick.
No, it was perfect.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. And of course, my daughter, Makenna Davis. Thank you, Makenna. We'll talk more about your experience later. And everybody else out there, thank you so much for everything that you do. Thank you for listening to the show. And we're going to be having another show coming up in about another 10 minutes.
Oh, I do. I will offer this one thing, though, if I can.
I need a breath mint.
What? You do?
I do.
Do I?
No.
Maybe I don't know.
What is it you wanted to offer?
Oh, well, okay. If you go to my website at sleepnow.com, if you send me an email, say you watch the program, I'm going to send you a gift. I'll send you a free program on self-hypnosis that you can utilize for yourself. How's that?
That's pretty cool.
There you go.
There you go.
No charge.
Hey.
My gift to humanity.
This is why we have individuals like Don on the show. This is a giving show. Everybody, if you have ideas for other shows, please message me, and we'll be having another show coming up in about 10 minutes. And everybody take care, be nice, and we'll see you around.